All right, guys, let's get started. Welcome to the call. So, just as a reminder, this is a call we do every single week. This is really just inviting all agents, all brokerages, come together, share information, support each other, do more business, right? Rising tide raises all ships. The more we can support each other in doing business, the better we all do. So, this is a really good forum that we've built to continue to do that. And I appreciate you guys being here. All right, so this week, we're going to specifically talk about tracking numbers. Tracking numbers is probably one of the most misunderstood aspects of this business. People do not do it. They don't realize it's important. They don't know why it's important. They don't even know what to track. But every business tracks numbers. Every single business tracks numbers. It's just how business is run. You go to a movie theater, you think they know exactly how many tickets they sold for that day? How many Snickers bars they've sold, how much popcorn they've sold, right? They track every single number. So in real estate, I mean, every hotel industries, call up a Marriott, talk to the general manager of the local Marriott and ask him or her how many occupancies they had filled last night. They'll tell you a very specific number. How much sales did they do at the bar last night? How many sales did they do at the restaurant? What is their, convenience shop that they have in the lobby? How much did they sell? Every number gets tracked. So in real estate, it's so crazy that agents don't track their numbers. Why? Because they're not really treating their business like a business. They're showing up, getting to work, and hopefully something good comes of it. What happened to my camera? Let's try that again. There we go. So it is so vitally important to track our numbers, to treat our business like a real business. But what numbers do we actually track? So I'm going to break this down to its simplest form. For those people that have never tracked a single number before, there's probably three things that can be tracked, three numbers that are like so vitally important just to start with. You don't have to go crazy and track every little metric in your business, but just the three simple ones to start tracking today. Number one, hours prospected. Hours prospected. Did I prospect for an hour yesterday or today or 2 hours or 3 hours or 0 hours or 15 minutes? It is such, now prospecting can take many forms. You could prospect like Mark on the phones. You could prospect like Sean at the doors. You can prospect like Dave Buss, who will have people over at his house for a barbecue. So there's like social prospecting. You can prospect. I don't know how to do it, but via social media. It's just not my area of expertise. There's got to be 30 different ways that you can prospect and who you can prospect and how you can prospect. But can we all agree that some degree of lead generation is necessary to build our business, to keep our business moving forward? And tracking how much lead generation you're doing every single day just helps you keep your eye on the ball. It's literally that simple. The more lead gen you do, the better your business does. Really simple stuff. So that's the first number to track. How many hours did you prospect? Just write that down each day. Number two, how many contacts did you make? How many people did you actually talk to? I prospected for an hour. Did I talk to 5 people or 9 people or 1 person? Track those numbers. And number 3, appointments set. All right, I prospected for 1 hour. I talked to 8 people. I actually set an appointment. I set an appointment with my friend who said that they want to buy an investment property. We're going to be meeting, for lunch on Thursday to talk about it. This really is where the rubber meets the road to grow your business. We'll get into some other numbers to track, slightly higher level that you can really understand the health of your business and how to improve your business. But if we were just to simplify this, the three numbers that we should be tracking every single day, no matter what, starting today: hours prospected, number of contacts made, and number of appointments. Now, are you going to set appointments every single day? In most cases, no. And that's okay. It's okay to put 0. That's fine. But when you know you're tracking it, at least you have an expectation. The whole goal of making contacts, of talking to people, is to set appointments. That is the only goal of prospecting. Set an appointment. Every time your phone is ringing, or every time you're doing an outreach, you're thinking to yourself, when I'm hearing that phone ring, are you my next appointment? That's what I'm thinking. Are you my next appointment? Right? So 3 simple, basic things to track. You start tracking that, then you're finally treating your business like a real business. Okay, next point. The fastest way to learn who you are as a real estate salesperson, your strengths, your weaknesses, your level of efficiency, and what it will take to succeed, is to track your numbers. Why is that? Why is that? Why does that teach you your strengths, your weaknesses, your efficiency, what it will take to succeed? What if you actually are prospecting 2 hours a day? And then you're also tracking the number of contacts you make. I prospected 2 hours yesterday. You're like, yes. How many people do you talk to? I talked to 3 people. Wow. Okay. That teaches us something, right? It teaches us about, are you staying on the phone too long? Were there any hot leads or appointments set? No. I called 3 past clients and we had 30-minute conversations each. What'd you talk about? We talked about the weather. We talked about sports, right? Like, that teaches you something, but you can learn from that. Oh, okay. Maybe I have to get to the point. Maybe I have to follow a script. Maybe I have to learn once I learn from talking to the person that there's no possibility of them buying or selling or investing in any real estate or having any referrals. Maybe I have to learn to unwind the conversation, how to kindly and professionally get off the phone and get on to my next call. That teaches me maybe that I have to be more efficient. I mean, there's so much that can be learned from tracking just those 2 simple numbers. Because then you can say to yourself, my goodness, like, I'm really proud that I actually carved out 2 hours of my day to prospect. But if I only talk to 3 people, is that going to get me to my goals for the year? I want to earn 100 or 200 or $300,000 this year, or $400,000 or $500,000, or whatever the number is. Is talking to 2 or 3 people a day going to get me there? It's so simple and basic, this approach to building your business. And this can only be taught by tracking numbers. Because guess what? If you prospect 2 hours yesterday and you don't really track anything, you're going to be tired at the end of the day. You're going to say to yourself, my God, I crushed it today. I was on the phones for a couple of hours. Like, I really was hitting it hard. Until you track, oh, wait a second. Look at that. I actually talked on the phone for 2 hours. I only made 3 contacts. Is that going to get me? Like, is it going to really move me forward, like, efficiently in my business? If the answer is no, then that was a really exercise that was really well worth it. Okay. Next point. The numbers don't lie. Do you want to build your business on reality or fantasy? That's another reason why we track our numbers. They just don't lie, right? Is this always an easy business? No, it's a tough business sometimes, right? So sometimes we just want to be kind to ourselves. You know what? I crushed it yesterday. I was on the phone 2 hours, and whatever you're telling yourself, but the numbers really give you a little bit of a peek into a brutal reality of what this business is. And that's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing because it helps us to really make decisions on how we're going to move forward efficiently and effectively. The numbers don't lie. Maybe you only made 3 contacts yesterday and you prospected for 3 hours, but maybe you set 2 appointments. And that's why you had 30 or 40-minute conversations. Great. That's okay, right? Nothing wrong with that. Next point, don't complicate the process when tracking your numbers. Use a very simple format to track your numbers every day. Use an Excel spreadsheet. Sean uses a little black book. I'm sure you have it within arm's reach right now, right? Right, Sean? Hold it up. A little black book. He just tracks his numbers every day. How many people he talked to, little tick mark. Tick. It does not have to be complicated at all. I don't know why my video keeps turning off. Use a spreadsheet, use a whiteboard, use a notebook, use a notes app on your phone, doesn't matter. Just start. It's interesting. It'll do two things actually. Oh, good. So Sean, you loaded onto a spreadsheet also. So actually it does two things for you when you track numbers. Number one, it's going to give you a whole different viewing accountability of your business that you have never had before. You won't get it in a week. You're not going to, you do it for a month or 2 or 3. You'll start to see things. You'll start to see patterns. And I mean, bring them up on these calls. Talk to me. Call me about them. We'll understand what patterns have developed and how we can use that in your favor to tweak what you do so that you're more efficient. So that's the first thing it'll do. The second thing it'll do, it'll naturally make you more efficient. If you know you're tracking your numbers, if you know you're writing them down, you're actually going to want to talk to more people because you're it's almost like the accountability of writing down what you eat every day if you're trying to lose weight or eat healthier, right? Just by the sheer fact of writing it down. You know, I don't want to write down a chocolate bar. I'm just not going to eat the damn chocolate bar. I don't want to write that in there. I'd rather just not eat it, right? So by knowing you're going to track your numbers, what if you are someone that, you say, I'm devoted to prospecting. I'm going to do it 3 hours a day. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to do it 3 hours a day. And you start, prospecting 3 hours a day. You make 8 to 10 contacts an hour. You're talking to 27 people every single day. And you don't get any appointments. That tells us something. What does that tell us? It tells us either A, you're not using the right script. You're not getting to the point, asking the right questions, digging deeper, asking for more. It could also be tell us what's going on in the greater market. I'm doing all this prospecting. No one's listing. Are they just like battening down the hatches and just riding out the interest rate storm? It can mean a couple different things. But if one person is prospecting 3 hours a day and talking to 30 people, and a secondary person is talking to 30 people a day, and one guy's setting appointments and one guy's not, or men or women, that probably means something. Maybe the person that's not setting the appointments should say, you know what? I think I should look at my own skills. If that person's prospecting the same as I am, and they're getting appointments, and we're doing basically the same type of prospecting, like that teaches us something. What if you actually track your numbers and you're prospecting every day and you're talking to people and you're setting appointments, but you're not taking listings? God, I've gone on 6 listing appointments in the past 3 months. I didn't take any listings. What could that tell us by tracking that number? Maybe what I believe is actually a lead, that I believe to be a lead, is not actually a lead. Maybe I have to redefine what a lead is. Well, no, these people were leads because they actually listed with other agents. Oh, what does that tell me? Maybe I have to work on my listing presentation. All right, good. Let's go back to the drawing board and really make sure you've got a really wonderful, strong knockout listing presentation. So you can take 80% of those listings. So you can take 4 or 5 out of those 6. Again, it just gives us this wonderful viewing accountability of what is actually happening in our business. It's really, really cool. It's not glamorous, believe me, to track your numbers every day, especially when you don't do your prospecting for the day. You don't do any lead gen. How many hours? Zero. How many contacts? Zero. How many appointments? Zero. Man, that didn't feel good. I'll do better tomorrow. Let me recommit tomorrow. But that's just part of treating our business like a business. It's the first part of just stepping into like the brutal reality that is this business. And what a wonderful place to kind of restart from without any judgment. Not good. It's not bad. It just is. And it just gives you a great opportunity to recommit. I find that I'm constantly having to recommit. I don't know about you guys. I'm constantly recommitting to this business. I'm constantly recommitting to my, wanting to just show up with my best, effort every day. I'm constantly having to resell myself on showing up with intensity, with focus. So when is now a good time to recommit, right? Now is always a good time. Next point. For those that are extremely numbers challenged, we're going to kind of expand. Initially, we started the call by saying, just start with these three numbers: hours prospected, contacts made, appointment set. Now we'll actually kind of open it up a little bit more so we can get a little bit more viewing accountability in our business. So what are some other things that should be tracked? So same as we started before, hours prospected, very, very important. The number of contacts made. C, presentations, appointments, right? Presentations or appointments that you've gone on. Now let's take it to the next level, because you are prospecting, and prospecting leads to leads and leads to appointments. How many listings did you actually take on those appointments? That'll teach us something. When you have an entire year's worth of numbers, okay, I prospected this much. I made this many contacts. I actually went on, 18 appointments and I took 11 listings. Okay, so 11 listings taken. How about this? Listings sold. Of those 11 listings, I only sold 5 of them. Oh, what does that tell you? Well, what it tells me, someone takes 11 listings and only sell 5, half of the listings, less than half, it means they have to work on their pricing of property. They really need to study how to price property correctly. It assumes you're working with motivated buyers, right? Or maybe that they're not really, they're working with the wrong people. If it goes back to pricing property. Oh, I believe your property is worth $2 million. Well, let's list it at 3. Okay, let's take that listing. Maybe that's a listing you shouldn't take. What's the likelihood of that one selling, right? Okay, so far, hours prospected is 1. Number 2 is contacts made. Number 3 is presentations gone on or appointments gone on. Number 4, listings taken. Number 5, listings sold. Number 6, buyer controlled sales. And number 7, closings. How many closings? You can also track your income earned. That's a good one to track. So this is all, like, imagine a year of tracking this data. And what if you did 18 transactions for the year and you closed 5 listings and you did, what is 18 minus 5? 13 buyer controlled sales. And you were working your tail off, my goodness, running around with buyers, multiple offers, trying to get this one accepted. God, I had to write an offer on 6 properties with that buyer, and you're exhausted at the end of the year. You did great, did 18 deals, you made some good money, especially around here, where an average commission check might be 15 or 20 grand. right? You make $300,000, but my goodness, I did 13 buyer controlled sales and 5 listings. So buyer controlled sale, you work with a buyer, right? You can work with a listing or work with a buyer, Rita, right? Did you represent the buyer or did you represent the listing? So looking at your year, now you're doing business planning for the following year. Okay, I'm looking at my business plan and I'm learning some things from it. I'm learning that I took I closed 5 listings and I actually took 11. I need to work on my pricing strategy. I learned that I took 11 listings. I went on 18 listing appointments. I learned that I have to have a better listing presentation. All right. I learned that I did 13 buyer sales and 5 listings. I learned that that's a little bit listing. I'm buyer heavy. You want to really control your time, have a listing based business. Now, listen, right now, just do any deal you can do, right? all escrows lead to income. It's all good. It's all good. But it's really nice to have again a viewing accountability of your business. Gosh, 13 buyer sales and 5 listings sold. Then you look at it. Okay, how many hours did I spend working with those buyers? Gosh, I must have spent, you just think about a typical buyer. I must have spent 30 hours. We go out 3, 4, 5 times, a couple hours each time. Then we have the escrow process listing. Oh, I spent an hour on the listing appointment, um, half hour each way driving there and back to the listing appointment. That's 2 hours. We put it on the market. There was, a couple hours in prep work. I negotiated, we got multiple offers. I negotiated for maybe 2, 3 hours. God, the whole thing maybe took me 8 hours, and the buyers took me 35 hours. Like, wow, no wonder why I ran myself ragged this year. So what can I do to take more listings? This is what, taking a little peek at your numbers, this is what it shares. This is what it shares. It's interesting. I was doing business planning one year and I would call expireds religiously until at the end of the year, I looked at my numbers and I said, I think I'd done like, I was probably did maybe 30 that year. This was maybe 10 years ago. I did maybe it was like 8 years ago. Probably did like 35 deals that year. And 2 were for expireds. I was spending 3 hours a day calling expireds. I needed to understand my numbers and then source my business to understand that's not effective. Not only so when I sourced my business, I realized that was a minuscule amount of my business, and it was the lowest income of all my deals. I realized, maybe those were like $500,000 deals, and the other deals were like $1 million deals or $1.2 million deals or something like that. So I realized, wow, I'm spending so much time. It is the least income generated per hour by me calling expired listings. And I made a very conscious decision to not call expired listings anymore. Just wasn't worth it. I'd rather put my efforts. Then I looked at that same year and I learned that like the majority, like 50% of my business was past clients and center of influence. Let me actually take that 3 hours of prospecting and lean into past clients and center of influence and double down on works better. These are what this is what you have at your disposal when we really just look at numbers. And by the way, when we look at these numbers, let's go back to the beginning of the call. Doesn't have to be complicated. We have a little notebook where you put the date, hours prospected, contacts made, appointments set. Like simple, keep it basic, like baby steps. But it is absolutely extraordinary the impact that it has on your business over time. Next point, spend some time each day monitoring your numbers so you can make the necessary adjustments to your schedule and to your skills. What if you're tracking your numbers each day and you realize, I'm putting like 15 to 20 minutes a day towards my prospecting. I'm tracking my numbers. It's 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. It's like, that's important. Then you got to ask yourself, first of all, what am I spending my day doing? What am I actually doing each day? Now I'm tracking my numbers. I'm seeing that I'm not spending enough time prospecting. I'm not spending enough time doing lead gen. And you really can take a good, cold, hard look at your schedule. All right, let me start tracking my schedule each day and going through it. All right, no more 2 hours on Facebook and Instagram. No more checking emails for 2 hours when I can do it in 15 minutes. No more hour-and-a-half lunches. I can shave that down. Whatever it is, that's the beauty of spending some time each day monitoring your numbers so you can make necessary adjustments to your schedule. And the last point, there's basically two ways to increase your efficiency when tracking numbers. There's two ways to increase your efficiency. Number one, increase the amount of numbers you do daily. Increase the amount of numbers. And number two, increase the quality of your contacts. It's quality and quantity. Just two ways. It's so simple. Quality and quantity. Ideally, we'd want to increase both. Ideally. Again, the reason why you track this, so check this out. This is where it gets kind of crazy. Maybe you're starting out in the business. You don't have any past clients. Maybe you just moved to the area from the East Coast. I don't know where everybody is. Maybe some people are on the East Coast on the call, but let's say you moved to California from New Jersey. I'm brand new to the business. I don't know a soul. I guess I'm going to have to cold call, door knock, call expireds. I'm talking to strangers, right? That's all I have. You might have to talk to hundreds of people before you actually can take a listing from that. Maybe it's 200. Maybe it's 400. Maybe it's 800. Maybe it's 1,500, depending on your skills, right? If your skills are kind of low. But as you're in the business, when you start to talk to people that have been doing this for years, and they're primarily, they have past clients, now all they do is call their past clients. There are people that have to make 26 contacts to set an appointment because they're calling their past clients. They're calling their center of influence. Now imagine 1,200 contacts versus 26 contacts. There are people that make 11 contacts to set an appointment because they're only calling, they've done it for so many years, only calling their A clients. They're A+ clients. These are people that not just have worked with you, but they respect you, they love you. They're your army, they're your raving fans. They're always looking for business for you. Imagine having a database full of those people. So there's two ways as you're tracking your numbers to talk to more people, or over the years to increase the quality of the contacts that you're actually making. Quality and quantity, super basic and simple, but it starts with tracking numbers. So Amrita's asking, what are some conversations or openers when meeting strangers in the store or while running errands? Okay, this is kind of cool. There's an agent who's actually joining our company. And he does two things. He wears a hat with his company logo on it. He's a Remax agent. He's actually joining our company in the next couple of weeks. But so it says Remax right on his hat, and he wears a name badge. He's like, you have no idea how much business I have done over the years with that. I mean, like 20 or 30 million dollars in transactions. Literally, no joke. He's like, I think he was either at a store or pumping gas. Someone's like, oh, you're in real estate? They gave him a referral. That referral turned into like 10 transactions. This is like he just tells me about all these stories where people have. So that's one thing you could potentially do is let the world know by either a name badge, and shame on me, I don't wear one. Either wearing a name badge or some swag or something, and people will actually. My daughter was at a track meet 6 months ago. There's a guy wearing his company hat. He was like one of the coaches. I went over to talk to him, like, "Hey, you're in real estate?" I was like, "So am I." Turns out I didn't know who he was, but he actually knew me. Maybe he wrote it off on one of my listings in the past. We had a great conversation. Started because of that. So while you're out there in life, that's one thing. But I'm Rita to get a little bit more. Oh, I don't know where I got that. I actually I had it made. I just kind of Googled like getting signs made. So what for those of you that don't know who I'm talking to, I'm Rita's putting stuff in the chat just so you don't think I'm talking to myself, having a conversation with myself. But something else, Amrita, that you can do, she's asking about some conversation openers. When you start a conversation with someone and you want to direct it towards real estate, one great thing is simply to ask a question of them. So what do you do? What do you do for work? And there's this law of reciprocity. When you ask somebody a question, generally, they'll ask you that same thing right back. They'll say, "Oh, I own a restaurant. I'm an attorney. I'm a whatever. I drive an ambulance." Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you for your work. That's super. That must be exhilarating and scary and stressful. Yeah, it's all the above. Yeah. What do you do? Oh, I'm in real estate. Very, very simple. The more questions you ask, the more questions people ask of you. So those are kind of the main points I had prepared for today for tracking numbers. I hope you guys got some value from this. I know I did because it's always a great reminder. Let's open the mics up for a second. Is there anything you guys are dealing with on a personal basis with your business that you want to bring up to the group with regard to tracking numbers or anything else? Mindset, working with buyers, sellers, schedule, objection handling, anything and everything. Anybody having a challenge they're working through or working on? Go for it, Phil.
Sure. I would like to strangle this agent I'm working with on a deal. Like literally. Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's just an uncooperative agent just biding his time. I mean, I only sent notice to perform once in my, I tried to work things out, but
Yeah.
I think it's time, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's helpful to understand where this comes from. They're not bad people. In many cases, Phil, like for instance, this particular agent in this particular transaction, what's the price point of the transaction?
It's not I think that's a problem. It's 550,000.
Okay. So not a huge deal, but still it's, 14, 15 grand in commissions, right? And I will tell you that, I mean, that's for some people that do a lot of business, yeah, maybe it's not a big deal. For some people that don't do much business, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And it's very possible that with this agent, maybe they don't do a lot of production. 15 grand, 14, 13 grand, whatever it is. So in many, many cases, agents insert so much drama, so much emotion because they feel not worthy. God, I just do a quick deal and I get 13, 14, 15 grand. They create drama. They create emotion. They create problems. They're terrified that their client is going to say, "Phil, can you kick back 5 grand to me? You really didn't do much." So they actually create issues, problems, challenges. They can say to their client, "Mark, just want you to know everything's okay now. Everything's okay. Some really hairy stuff came up yesterday. I want you to know I took care of it. The other agent was just going crazy, and the seller wanted all these things, but I put my foot down and I really stepped up to the plate for you, and I just want you to know I took care of it, and like I'm fighting for it." It's like, what? Hey, listen, the best transactions, everybody gets along, no problems. Like Phil, you and I are in a transaction, let's say. We talk once in the beginning and once at the closing, right? Those are the best ones. Nice and easy. Buyer's happy, seller's happy, agents are happy. Not all agents see it that way. They feel like they need to earn their commission by just creating a mess. So I always try to be, I always try to remember that and really not be adversarial, be really kind to the other agent. And usually the more kindness I show, it softens them up without trying to wring their neck. By the way, you want a really good book on that subject? I just started it. Never Split the Difference. Sean recommended that. A lot of people recommended it to me. About what's the author's name? Sean, do you recall?
Chris Voss.
Chris Voss. It's a hostage negotiator. What a fabulous, amazing book. You want to learn how to really have Jedi mind tricks with people? Read that book. It'll blow your mind. Great, great, great tools to utilize in negotiating with, other agents, with your own clients, with your friends, with your family. Like everything's a negotiation, right? So I just started it and it's just gold. Everything about that book is so good. All right, cool. Anybody else with a challenge that they're working on that we can dig into for a sec? All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, hope you got some great value from today's conversation on backing numbers. We'll pick it up next week, same time, same Zoom place, and have a powerful, powerful week. Go crush it, guys. Take good care.